What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the 1796 Sports Podcast. Joined by Jim, as always. Week 0 is done, and we are entering into Week 1. Jim, what did you think of Week 0? Anything pique your interest? I know that Ireland game was pretty mid, pretty mid.
Oh, top 25 matchup. Everyone thought, oh, this could be a great game to watch. Raining like the whole first half. Rocco Beck, two guys that Tennessee was like, oh, we should get these guys a quarterback. Both mid. I don't care what anyone said. They're both mid. The only reason Avery Johnson's stats looked semi-decent is his wide receivers actually did something. But watching Avery Johnson play, I was just like, oh, my God, thank God Tennessee did not go with Avery Johnson because we would have been in the shitter. But yeah, I've never been a big fan of, week 0. I think it's stupid. They should just play all the games week 1 like every other place, but whatever.
Yeah. Like you said, both those quarterbacks looked exceedingly average against Big 12 defenses. Like you said, though, it was rainy and muddy, and they were, however many hours away from their campus. But still, I mean, Tennessee would have to pay $4 million for both of them. That's what the rumors were. I'd say Tennessee made a decent decision, and that's without seeing Joey play a snap yet. But I'm pretty confident Joey will look better than that. I mean, surely to God. Other than that, week 0 was pretty standard stuff. Your little group of 5 matchups and whatnot. But Tennessee versus Syracuse. What's your first thoughts just looking at this matchup? What do you think is going to be the big story of this game?
To me, I think it's going to be a normal week 1 type of game. Again, like I was listening to a podcast earlier, and they were talking about how Syracuse had 19 missed tackles in their week 1 last year.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, they had 6 missed tackles. Like week 1 is scary to play, especially against a team like Syracuse, who's, it's not that they have a chip on their shoulder or anything like that, because they're coming off a great season, but everyone's doubting them. Everyone thinks Tennessee's going to win by multiple scores, which I think they should. But week 1's scary. You never know. I mean, the miscues, the penalties, you never know what's going to happen week 1. And again, we don't know what we're going to see from Joey. What if we see Joey ball out and it's just between the run game, the tempo, it's going to be crazy. I don't know. It's week 1's just a bunch of question marks between the team and the game itself. So I don't even know.
Yeah, it's definitely a crapshoot in week 1. Both teams last year, both were 10-3. Syracuse was good because of their offense. Tennessee was good because of their defense. I mean, very similar deals. I mean, Syracuse does lose more. I think it's something like 18 of 22 starters. Of course, Tennessee is close to that, but, Tennessee is always going to have better talent than Syracuse. But to me, just starting off with their offense, if you don't mind, Jim, they lose Kyle McCord, who had one of the best college football seasons ever from a quarterback. I think that's safe to say stat-wise.
Oh, yeah.
And they lost their leading rusher, their leading receiver, Trevor Pena, leading rusher Lee Allen Quint. They lost a big tight end in Gadsden. They lost 3 starters on their offensive line. And they'll be relying on another guy Tennessee was linked to at quarterback, at least in week 1, Steve Angeli. So what are your thoughts on their offense? I mean, I don't know much about them. I just know they're unproven just like Tennessee's, but I'm just banking that Tennessee has way better talent.
Yeah, and, we'll talk about Boo later, but, I mean, Tennessee's talent is way better, like, on paper and honestly on the field. But, I mean, wide receiver-wise, they still got Jonte Cook from Texas last year. He didn't play a lot. He had a lot of off-the-field issues, but the guy's a good player. They also got Darrell Gill, I think his name is, who actually had 570 yards last year as like a wide receiver 4. I mean,
Yeah.
a good, kind of, he's 6'3", 190. I mean, he's a tall guy, probably got some speed to him. But again, we don't know what we're going to get from Steve Angeli. Again, Steve Angeli wasn't too bad. Like you said, we were kind of in the race for him too. When he hit the portal, everyone was saying, "Oh, Tennessee, Tennessee, Tennessee." And look at his stats. I mean, his completion rates were really pretty good. I mean, he's played limited snaps though behind Riley Leonard. So I mean, we don't really know what we're gonna get, but I believe in Tennessee's defense, man. Tennessee is gonna have a bunch of guys with experience in the linebacker room, a bunch of guys with experience in the defensive back room, and another year of stud defensive line. So it's going to be a tough task for Syracuse to pull off what people are calling an upset. So,
yeah. I mean, just by the betting lines, it would be an upset. I mean, and I think, like, not just the betting lines. I mean, it would be a tremendous upset if Tennessee were to drop this game. But, even like I said, they lost Quinn's production running back wise. They'll be going with a sophomore, Yassine Willis, who ran for like 130 yards last year. Will Nixon, he was with Washington 2 years ago, missed last year due to injury. He'll be back there too. Those are your top 2 running backs for the Orange, and most of the offensive line is transfer portal guys. Zach Rice from North Carolina, Austin Collins, Louisville, right guard T.J. Ferguson, Florida State, right tackle Cam Pringle from South Carolina.
Cam Pringle's not even starting.
Yeah, I'm just going over the guys that got in the portal. But
yeah.
Demetrius Weatherspoon will probably make starts because he started 10 times last year, but might be moving to left tackle. So I don't know how well that's going to work out for him against Tennessee's defensive front. Starting a right tackle from Florida State who went 2-10, a left guard from North Carolina who was mid, a center from Louisville who was okay, but I just don't know how that's going to work out for him. I think I do know how it's going to work out for him, but I'll let you speak to that.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say because it's week 1. Like we're talking about, we don't know what we're going to get from Tennessee. I think we know that the defense is going to be good. We expect our run game to be good. I mean, you got 3 studs back there that could, handle the ball. I think Tennessee's whole season is focused on how well you can protect Joey. I think if Joey gets enough time, our wide receivers are they are talented and fast enough to get open. It's just you have to give Joey some time to make those reads. And I think he's a good veteran guy that will take Tennessee to good places. But like I said, it's what's our offensive line look like? But we're looking at the same kind of thing. How you said, Syracuse had, people from the portal and all that. I mean, Tennessee's in the same spot. You got Sam Pendleton, who's probably going to be the starting center. Then you got Jesse Perry, most likely, with a freshman right tackle, Hurd in the left, and a transfer in the right as a left guard. So it's, again, we've got a lot of unknowns here. A lot of, and that's, you're going to hear that a lot on all these podcasts that people are talking about this game. A lot of unknowns, but Tennessee is to me the more talented team, the better coach team, and I just think that's how it's going to roll. I mean, there's nothing really, that I could think of that Syracuse could do to beat us. I mean, unless they keep us under 100 rushing yards, which I just don't see happening. So
nobody keeps us under 100 on, like, we even got over 100 against Georgia last year. Finally, I mean, it's Tennessee runs the ball come hell or high water, and I've said that's been one of my main quotes the 2 years we've been doing this, Jim. So the difference between Tennessee's situation on the offensive line and Syracuse's situation on the offensive line, at least for this game, is Tennessee's offensive line is going against Syracuse defenders who gave up 30 points a game, 5 yards a carry, near the bottom of the ACC last year in defense. They had to outscore literally everybody they played to win 10 of their 13 games. I mean, that's the difference, like, at least in this game. But, the unknowns will start to get answered here in 5 days, and that's really what I'm looking forward to, is just seeing it in real life, because this is the most unknown season we've had under Heupel since the first season under Heupel. I mean, we really don't know what we're gonna get, and some of that's terrifying, some of it's exciting. So we'll
Yeah, and
have to
we've
see.
as fans we've been asking for younger guys to get in there, like the wide receiver room. I mean, you're going to see Mike Matthews, you're going to see Braylon Staley, you're going to see Chris Brazzell, and you're going to see, who knows, an Amari Jefferson or Rodarius Jackson or Smith Jr. I mean, it's just, you don't know. It's exciting. We get to see Tennessee play football this week. I'm still contemplating on going to the game. I can't decide if I want to make that trip. It's kind of it is tough wanting to go to that when you're by yourself, so you really don't know
Yeah,
how to navigate everything. But it's also making me contemplate going to the ETSU game. Like, it's one of those games where I probably wouldn't go to because I know it's going to be a slaughter fest.
yeah,
But like, just being able to be inside Neyland Stadium and experience like the first game of the year, it's just something magical. It's so exciting this time of year.
yeah. Um, Talking a little bit more about Syracuse's defense here. Like I've already been over, Jim, their defense was terrible last year. They had to outscore everybody, and now don't have their leading tackler from last year in Justin Barron. Don't have their top pass rusher in Fadil Diggs. They don't have a 4-year starter at linebacker in Marlowe Waz. And they also have lost a lot of their secondary too. So, I mean, if Tennessee doesn't, and I know it's the first game, if Tennessee doesn't move the ball and make some big plays in this game, that's going to concern me a lot. I'll just go ahead and say that right now.
Well, yeah, that's going to concern everybody. But my thing is seeing and listening to some Syracuse podcasts this morning. From what I've heard, is their defensive backs have been getting torched inside fall camp. So again, I just don't see. To me, I think everyone's like lowballing Tennessee's offense, and I've been seeing like Eric Kane giving a 28-14 score.
Yeah, I think our team total on betting sites is like 30 and a half, 31 and a half, something
I'd
like
take the
that.
over. I'm gonna be honest. Like again, between our running game and the tempo, I think our wide receivers are going to get open. The tight end room's fantastic this year. Again, I don't even know if Miles Kitselman's going to play. I assume he is, but no one really knows that because no depth chart came out today, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't see it happen. I think Tennessee will go over 30.5, and I think Tennessee is going to hold them under 17. Unless Steve Angeli has like a Miller Moss type,
Yeah.
Showing. So
Whatever happened to old Miller Moss? He had that one great game against LSU.
I know, and I bet the over on him every game, and after that,
Yeah.
it was like he forgot how to throw a football.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's not even just about our offense versus their bad defense who's losing guys and replacing them with people in the portal. It's how many short fields will our defense set up? How many special teams play are we going to make with maybe Boo returning punts or Dwayne Morris returning punts? I imagine we'll get a turnover or two in there too. That leads me to believe 30.5 is, like you said, very much a low ball team total there.
Well, not only that, I mean, Prize Picks has Joey Aguilar at 213.5 passing yards. To me, I mean, the guy at App State was throwing like 280 a game. And everyone's going to say, oh, it's against weaker teams. I mean, he played against ACC teams too and was torching them too. That team that he was on where he had that fantastic season had less talent than Tennessee does this year. So I think if Joey has time, I think this kid's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah. I mean,
statistically,
if he can take care of the ball. I mean, there was an article on VolQuest a few days ago over the weekend about how he is a true gunslinger, comparing him to Brett Favre and all this. And, that gives me hope that he won't, be having jitters when the game gets going on Saturday morning because, most of the time gunslingers are not really scared. That's just the nature of that term. But I think the whole season will come down to can he take care of the ball and operate the offense effectively. Another fun tidbit about the Syracuse defense, they have an eighth-year edge rusher in David Reese, and they're also expected to start a 17-year-old cornerback in Demetrius Samuel Jr. So they're really running the game at age-wise there.
But Zakai Ziegler can't pay 5 years. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know how that breaks down, getting 8 years, but seems kind of crazy to me. But what really stands out to me there is there's going to be a 17-year-old in their secondary. And maybe he's a stud.
Covering Mike Matthews.
Covering somebody. But I would imagine Joey and Heupel will test him early in that game.
What do you think is going to be the first play? I think it's going to be run right up the middle. I don't think it's going to take long. I think it's going to be a 4 to 5 yard run, tempo, play action, deep pass. I think it's going to be.
It wouldn't surprise me to see Joey uncork one on play one. It would not surprise me at all. But
I wouldn't be mad.
It would most likely be a pass to the boundary or a run up the middle.
To Brazel too, and Brazel's going to catch one up high.
Yeah. What is the key to the game, in your opinion, Jim?
Get the run game going. You get the run game going, it's going to open up the pass game because, my opinion, if I was Syracuse, I'd be testing Joey early. I would flood the box, really try and stop the run game because I think if you stop the run game and make Joey make plays, that's probably your best way to potentially win a game. Again, I just don't see that happening. I think Peyton Lewis, Sean Bishop, and Star Thomas are too talented, especially with this offensive line against this defense, like you were explaining earlier. I think it's going to be hard to stop the run, and they're going to have to, if they clog the box and it's one-on-one on the outside, I'm doing exactly what you said. I'm tossing that ball up. Let your wide receivers go make a play. They have the talent. They got the speed. They got the athleticism. Let them do it. And I think Tennessee wins this game more. I think they'll cover the minus 13.5. I think they'll win by 2 touchdowns easily. And I think they're going to score more than 30 points. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, my key is very similar. I mean, you have to impose your superior talent in the trenches early on and throughout the game. I mean, we did it against NC State last year, another ACC team, which I know was far worse last year at least than Syracuse. But I don't know if their defense was. Yeah, I think their defense might have been worse than NC State's. So we'll see how it goes. But I'll ask you this question: would you rather see Tennessee, impose their will, rush for 250, 300 yards, or would you rather see Joey with 250 to 300 yards passing?
I'd rather see Joey with a 300-yard game. And not – I know we're going to have a run game this year. It's just we haven't had a quarterback where we're like, he could throw for 300 yards any given day and since Hendon. I mean, and that's before him, God knows the last before that. So I feel like Joey's got the touch because I mean we look at the last year's highlights. How many deep balls Nico missed by like 2-3 feet that could have been touchdowns, and Nico's stats would have been probably worth the $4 million if those passes hit. Yep. I mean, if you really think about it, he's probably sitting at 2,900 yards with 6 more touchdowns.
He's knocking on the door at 3,000 if he just hits some passes.
So again, if Joey does that. I mean, Tennessee's going to be real effing good. Their run game's going to be good. Their defense is going to be good. And if they have a quarterback who does better than Nico last year, why can't they be a playoff team?
Yeah, that's what confuses me is that pretty much everybody has admitted Nico was not all that. We're returning several of the key players on defense from last year. Our offensive line has a 5-star guy at right tackle. We've revamped it in the portal. Pretty much the only spot on the offense that people are still worried about is wide receivers and quarterback, but I'm not too worried about it. I think they're top full of talent in both those positions. I mean, like we've been talking about, Joey can do it, and I'll take a few more interceptions if it means 30 passing touchdowns again. I'll take 5 to 10 interceptions. But
With 25 plus touchdowns, yes.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of the stats last year for Joey. I mean, he's playing for App State. He's throwing balls that down by 2+ scores. I don't think all those
Running for
interceptions
his life.
Yeah, I don't think all those interceptions are him just sucking, So he's taking some risk when you play for App State and you're pretty much the only source of offense. So,
Oh yeah.
do you have a score prediction for us before we talk about some other matchups here in week one?
Yeah, so I'm gonna, like I said, they're gonna. I think Tennessee scores more than 30. I'm gonna go 30. I'll be more conservative. I'll be 35. I don't think Syracuse is scoring more than 17. So I'll just go with that. I think 35-17 Tennessee wins.
Yeah, I'll go with 41-14. I think our defense is going to eat them alive. The unoffensive line that replaced
I
three
love that.
people. I think they'll set up short fields like I talked about earlier. We'll run the ball down their throat even if Joey doesn't throw for an enormous amount of yards. So I think I'm going to go very similarly to how that NC State game went last year. I don't know if it'll unravel that quickly like it did against
Yeah.
NC State, but I think it'll unravel at some point. I think Tennessee, the talent will show up pretty soon. If not in the second quarter, definitely in the third quarter. So, do you have a player of the game?
Joey Aguilar. I think Joey's gonna have a coming out party. Not coming out of the closet, people. Don't even think like that. But I think he will. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to make a lot of SEC teams that think Tennessee is going to be a walk through the park very nervous after this week one game.
Yeah. I'll go with Deshaun Bishop. It just seems like a safer pick to me. I think he'll run for 125 plus yards and maybe a touchdown or two. And I'll also throw in, I could see anybody on the defense forcing a turnover in this game, and it might be a huge one that turns the tide and starts to unravel it, like I explained earlier. But there you have it for Tennessee versus Syracuse. It'll be interesting to see because I know the injury report will come out later in this week too. I don't expect Dermott to play, but like you said, Kitzelman, that's kind of up in the air, and a few other guys, that have been dealing with some stuff in the wide receiver room and elsewhere. So it'll probably be just all of them questionable. That would be par for the course for Josh Heupel, but we'll see how it goes, man. But like I said, other week one games. Which one do you want to talk about first, Jim?
I mean, start off at noon, right, with us. I mean, Texas is going to the shoe.
Yeah.
Probably the game of the night, other than LSU Clemson. Going to be a good one. A lot of unknowns other than the wide receiver room for Ohio State. I mean, you got a freshman, Julian Sayin, coming in and slinging the rock for the first time. I mean, the kid's talented, but the same thing goes for Texas. I mean, you have Arch Manning, who played a little bit last year, but for the most part, he was the backup. But we know how talented he is. And Texas got that Texas money. I mean, they got a lot of good talent on that football team. And again, you got Jeremiah Smith still at Ohio State, and you got Caleb Downs that's still at Ohio State. Yeah. So probably the two best players in the country on one team. I mean, we got it on both sides of the ball. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen. I would love to see the UT Junior just absolutely get manhandled, because Texas would be sweating bullets the rest of the year if they lose that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. What do you think?
Just looking at the line, they got ESPN Bet at least as Ohio State -1.5. like you said, the two quarterbacks. I mean, both pretty unproven guys. I mean, Arch is far more proven than Julian Sayin. Um, but with it being at the shoe at Ohio State, I would lean Ohio State to get it done. And I don't know. I mean, if the committee, if the national media will punish a close loss for either team there, um, they would certainly punish Texas less for a close loss with them being on the road. But I don't think that by any means eliminates either one of them, even if they do drop another game in conference. I mean, would a 9-3 Texas with a 6-2 record in the SEC not make the playoff just because they lost to Ohio State?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
I think 9-3 doesn't get you in. I mean, I think it's the same as last year. I think if you go 9-3, you're not in the playoff.
I know, but with it being to Ohio State, I could definitely see an argument for them getting in at 9-3 if they,
Yeah, like the last seed in.
yeah, something like that. But the game, I'm very interested in. It's not even on Saturday actually; it's on Friday night. Auburn versus Baylor. Um, if Hugh Freeze loses that game at Baylor, he might be fired by the end of September. And they're
And
2.5 point favorites. Sorry.
Auburn, I mean, a lot of people were talking about. I saw someone say on one of their graphics that Auburn had a better defense than Tennessee, and I laughed. Like, I actually laughed out loud when I saw that.
Doesn't make much sense to me, but go on.
But, I mean, you got a guy, Jackson Arnold, coming in at the helm who struggled in the SEC last year. Did he change? Who knows? Hugh Freeze, I've seen videos of him at fall camp just yelling and screaming about how bad he was doing or whatever it was. Yeah. But, I mean, Baylor's got Sawyer Robinson, another guy that Tennessee was trying to take, and the dude could throw. He could sling the rock, man. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. I think you're right, though. I mean, if he goes in and loses that game, that's going to be detrimental to their season, because that goes them from starting off 1-0 and possibly getting 3-0 till the Oklahoma game, to going 0-1 and going 2-1 in the Oklahoma game and at Oklahoma. So
and they also, after that, it's A&M at A&M, and then they play Georgia at home. So they could be 2-4 if they don't win that game, and even a 3-3 probably has them in the hot seat too, even if they do win that game. Yeah. So that game's pretty important for Hugh Freeze's future. But what's another game you're interested in week one?
Hold on, I gotta look because there's so many damn games I'm looking at.
Pretty good week one, as always.
If we want to talk about it, we could talk about Indiana and Old Dominion. I know that's a tough game for Indiana.
Yeah, that's going to be a barn burner.
No, realistically though, I do like Alabama at Florida State. I think a lot of people think Florida State's going to be a walk in the park because of last year. I do think Alabama wins the game, but I think that game could be sneaky.
Yeah, with it being in Tallahassee, normally a game like that, Alabama doesn't travel much. It's normally a neutral site when they play big out-of-conference games. But it's in Tallahassee, so I think that gives Florida State a fighting chance in that game. I mean, after going 2-10, maybe they have a chip on their shoulder. The guys that are remaining from that team, I don't know how many are. I would imagine they did a pretty good roster overhaul there at Florida State. So, but it'll be interesting. I would imagine Florida State puts up a fight for at least 3 quarters there.
Well, I mean, they do have Tommy Castellanos coming from Boston College. That kid was a pretty good quarterback at Boston College, and he put a lot of good teams up with a good fight. But he has been talking shit, saying that Bama doesn't have Saban anymore to save him, and that could be detrimental to.
But it would be far more detrimental if it was in Tuscaloosa or at a neutral site.
Yes.
So you got to also think Alabama's breaking in an inexperienced quarterback too, and it's, there's a few places that I would, put ahead of Florida State as far as not wanting to break in a quarterback at. It's probably going to be hot there. Week 1, 0-0. There's nothing to be sad about for Florida State yet, so the stadium is going to be full. That's going to be tough for him. And he does have the benefit of Ryan Williams and loads of other talent on that Alabama offense. But if they get out to a hot start, Florida State, they force turnover or something, that game could get pretty interesting pretty quickly. So I'll definitely have my eyes on that one.
Oh yeah. I'm going to start with LSU Clemson because Miami versus Notre Dame, which is a top 10 matchup, is on Sunday. But we'll talk about the first top 10 matchup, which is on Saturday, and that's LSU going to Death Valley Junior.
Yeah.
Again, LSU to me is just how they were last year. I mean, everyone said LSU's back, LSU this, LSU that. They got Garrett Nussmeier back, which is a huge thing. I mean, he's projected to throw almost 4,000 yards. I mean, he's at like 3,700 yards or something on his season projections. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 3,800 yards. So big things for that guy. But again, you're going into Death Valley Junior. With Dabo Sweeney and the Clemson Tigers with Cade Klubnik, a Heisman favorite.
Yep.
You got 2 Heisman favorites going at it.
Yep.
What are you going to get? I don't know. I don't even know who to pick for this game. Like, it's like a toss-up to me. The only reason I say Clemson is just because Clemson's the home team.
Yeah. I also would say Clemson is because LSU normally loses the first game. And those games Brian Kelly has lost as LSU's coach in the first game, I think it was 2 to Florida State and then 1 to USC last year. And those were neutral sites, if I'm not mistaken. So now you're going on the road against the best opponent out of all those teams. The good news for LSU is they did have one of the best transfer portal classes. LSU's always chock full of talent. And maybe Brian Kelly feels like if he doesn't get it done this year, it might be his last opportunity. If not his last opportunity, 100 times more pressure next year if they don't get something done this year. I think if LSU doesn't make the playoffs, Brian Kelly could very well be fired. And this game would go a long way in putting them in good position for a playoff. But I'm still going to go with Clemson. 4-point favorites at home. I just think that home field advantage puts them over the top in that matchup.
And you got a guy like Cade Klubnik who's been in those games. I mean,
yeah,
he's been in those tough games, and it's gonna be a night game in Death Valley Junior. So,
all right, I think that's the last game on Saturday that really jumps out at me, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure.
Virginia Tech and South Carolina on Sunday. That's going to be interesting. I think Virginia Tech is very, very underrated.
It's at William Bryce, though.
It's actually in Atlanta. They're playing a game there right after we do on Sunday. So
wow, okay,
yeah. So it is a neutral site. South Carolina will probably have more fans, but I'll keep my eye on that one. Like I don't expect South Carolina to just come out and roll over Virginia Tech. I mean, they're favored by 8, but that'll just be an interesting game to watch, and that's all I'll say unless you have a tidbit on it.
Which one? Oh yeah, no. I think South Carolina will have a pretty good defense, and they have Lenore Sellers coming back. One of their better running backs just got eligible today, so
yeah,
that's a big news for them. And I think Shane Beamer is actually a semi decent coach, a good recruiter. But yeah, I think Lenore Sellers is going to be a top 5 quarterback too, as well. So yeah, nothing really on that game.
They very well could have the best offensive player and the best defensive player, Lenore Sellers and Dylan
Stewart.
Yeah, they very well could, at least in the SEC. But I would still say Tennessee's roster is better. I'll just throw that out there. But Notre Dame at Miami, Catholics versus convicts. What are you feeling on that one, Jim?
I think we get to see Carson Beck, the Georgia boy who left and went for the money.
Yep.
Carson Beck, I think is a decent quarterback. I don't think he's Cam Ward.
No.
I do think he'll play better in the ACC with less talent. Um, but Notre Dame, CJ Carr, starting quarterback. I mean, they got Jeremiah Love coming back. They got Faison. I can't remember his first name. Jordan Faison, I think his name is, at wide receiver, who's back.
Yep.
I like Freeman as a coach. I just, for some reason, it just screams Miami.
Yeah. Hard Rock Stadium doesn't get a lot of credit for being a home field advantage. It's because there's a million other things to do in Miami. But I think it'll be a pretty good environment for that game. I mean, that's probably one of Miami's biggest historical games that they've ever played in is Miami versus Notre Dame. So they'll probably have a good crowd there. Um, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Notre Dame go in there and just have their way with them. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Miami ride a home field advantage to a win. I think that's the biggest toss-up game of the weekend to me. Like I don't have a very good read on that one. I really don't know what to expect there. But
Again, week one game scary.
yeah, 100%. And rounding out the weekend, we get the debut of Bill Belichick on Labor Day night, TCU at North Carolina. Um, Bill Belichick kind of limped to the finish line as far as his NFL career goes. Do you think he has the chops to do it in the college game?
No.
I don't think so either. For the record, so I think it could be a disaster.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I mean, there's really not much else to it.
Yeah. So Thursday afternoon, now that we've covered all the matchups, the SEC announced the 9-game schedule for next year. And thoughts on that, Jim?
As a season ticket holder,
Yeah, pretty exciting. Yeah,
pretty exciting. Kind of what we were asking for was like, give us another home game to go to when you're asking for these, boosted prices. But I mean, you could have a tough schedule some years, being that you're playing everyone at random. I do know they were saying how you get 3 permanent opponents. Tennessee would be very lucky to get Kentucky and Vanderbilt.
they're gonna get Vanderbilt. I mean, that's gonna happen.
Vanderbilt has no rivals, so
yeah.
But to me though, it's sad because the Kentucky Tennessee rivalry it's a border battle. I mean, we all hate each other all year round, all sports. But same thing goes with Florida and Alabama. I think everyone's right. I think it's gonna be Alabama, Florida, and Vanderbilt. But who knows? I don't know. What do you think?
As far as teams we've played the most, it's Vanderbilt number 1, Alabama number 2, Kentucky number 3. Everybody else is like 40 games behind. We've played Ole Miss the 4th most. Like we haven't even played Georgia and Florida, even as much as we've played Ole Miss and Auburn. So, just based off historical, it's Alabama, Kentucky, Florida. I mean Alabama, Vandy, Kentucky. Sorry, but
yeah, people would be absurdly mad at that.
Yeah, I think other ads in the conference would be like, "This is bullshit." Like that's what I'm scared of. Even though Kentucky, their biggest football rival is us, but I don't think they're going to give them to us. I think we're going to get either Florida or South Carolina.
If we get South Carolina, that's so dumb. And I'm not even mad because like South Carolina has been a good team last year.
Yeah.
It's more of like we're not rivals with them. It's just like that would be a whatever game.
They've beaten us far more often than Vanderbilt and Kentucky, in recent memory. But for the most part,
I want 3 people we hate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care for South Carolina, but I don't hate them like I do Vanderbilt and Kentucky. But again, I don't think the other ads would stand for us having Vanderbilt and Kentucky as two permanent opponents. But also, you got to think you're going to play every team in the SEC every 2 years, so they can make the schedule hard no matter what. 3 permanent opponents be damned. Like they can make it hard on everybody. And I also heard. Also, just sorry, real quick. I also heard if you stay for 4 years at a college, you're guaranteed to go to every SEC stadium now, playing everybody every 2 years.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
that's really cool for fans, for
Players.
players too. But go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Well, I'm just saying. I was saying, thank God for the Adidas deal, because that you're going to need to be getting the best players
Yeah,
young, because you're going to be playing. You could have a year where you're playing Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, all in 1 year. Texas A&M. I mean, like,
yeah,
just crazy to think that's a possibility. And then you got Big Ten fans over here complaining about playing their 9-game in conference schedule. They have 3 good teams in the Big Ten.
most years, yeah, most years.
Sometimes not even 3. I mean, Michigan wasn't even considered a good team last year.
Yeah, they were what, 7-5.
Yeah, so all you had was Ohio State, Penn State, and
Now Oregon, yeah,
now Oregon. So maybe some years you have 4 good teams.
yeah,
The other teams suck. Indiana doesn't count. Indiana plays nobody all year.
yeah.
So
I think it is time to go to a 9-game schedule. I mean, I loved, even though we were god awful, one of our worst season ever record wise in 2020, 3-7 and 10-game SEC schedule. I still liked playing an SEC team every week and not have a game where you're just like, okay, we're gonna win that, and you don't even want to go to the game. You don't. It's
yeah,
not worth
UTSU, you don't want to go.
It's not worth the drive, even though I am gonna go. It's not worth the drive for a lot of people to go up there to leave at halftime. So
I've been debating it too, dude.
yeah, I think you should go. Neyland Stadium's awesome, even if we're playing Carnes High School. So
Are you going to? Wait, are you bringing? Is your dad going?
first game, yeah,
Damn.
probably be me and my bro the week after against Georgia. But
Yeah, I can't wait for that week.
that'll be a good one. But the good news is everybody is going to be dealing with the same thing. Like, I'm not too concerned about competitiveness. I think Tennessee is one of the schools best set up to go to 9 conference games. We're at least in the top 5 in the league right now. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think it'll be good for the conference overall. So,
Yeah.
But any more thoughts tonight before we recap the Syracuse game next week?
I don't think so, man. I'm just so excited that just college football's back. And then you got to think, I mean, you get midway through the season, basketball starting to sneak back, and it's just you're back to prime time, degenerate gambling season.
Everybody's favorite time of the year.
Right.
All right, buddy. Go Vols.
Go Vols, baby.